up, fellow oddities, and welcome to a new video. Recently, Sub-Zero just released as a playable character in one of the biggest video games in the world and of all time, Fortnite. Will I be grinding out the battle pass or spending my precious earned dollars in order to get him in this game that I do not play? No. But his inclusion did get me thinking. Mortal Kombat has had a bunch of guest characters over the years from other media appear in their games. But how often have they been on the other end of that? How often has a Mortal Kombat character appeared as a guest in another game, as is the case with Fortnite? And how accurate are they to their original interpretation? Well, I've managed to figure that out through research, and today I will be sharing every single time a Mortal Kombat character has appeared in a non-Mortal Kombat game in chronological order, and I will also be giving a rating out of 10 based on how great of an adaptation it is. So without further ado, let's get started with the first instance, one I have referenced many times, NBA Jam. NBA Jam was a basketball game released by Midway, get used to hearing that a lot, in arcades May of 1993. However, the version with MK characters was the Tournament Edition, fitting name, which was released in January of 1994. The playable characters consisted of Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Raiden. You unlock them by entering special codes in the form of 3-letter initials and dates. For example, you unlock Scorpion by entering SCO and then July 6th. Sub-Zero was SUB and then December 5th, and so on. These characters had hidden stats, but were noticeably stronger than the base roster of NBA Jam, though they didn't have any unique special abilities. All their designs are normal basketball jerseys and shorts in the color of whatever is the signature for that character, and then their head from MK2, since that was the last game to come out when this was released. And the last thing is that you could actually do fatalities. Sort of. Obviously, you can't kill people in a basketball game, but NBA Jam had a feature where you could push your opponents over, and if you held up and pressed the pass button 20 times on the select screen, you could turn on fatalities, which basically causes the opponent to now catch on fire when pushed over, like Scorpion's Toasty Fatality. However, it stays that way for every character, so they don't get unique fatals. Sub-Zero doesn't freeze you, Reptile doesn't spit acid on you, Raiden doesn't shock you, or whatever. If they did do that, I think I would bump this up a little bit higher in the ratings, and it also might have gotten a higher rating if the MK characters weren't eventually removed from the game because of the controversy surrounding the violence in video games at the time, and the NBA themselves pulling the characters out of the game. But this is just a basketball game, so you can't really get too upset about them not having the exact characters the way they are in the games, because I just don't know how that would work, so you know, it's not really any negativity towards NBA Jam for having a low rating. It's fine. Like, I don't think really anyone cares. It's a cool feature to have. They have 4 different characters, which no other game on this list has, so that's a neat addition. But I'm just going to give it like a 4 out of 10 since they're not like great adaptations, but they don't have to be because it's a silly basketball game. This isn't even like NBA 2K or whatever. This is like stupid, fun NBA games, so it's fine. Next, we have NFL Blitz, an American football arcade game developed by Midway once again, released in 1997, the same year as MK4, so you probably have a good idea of who was included, Raiden and Shinnok. However, this one is much less notable than NBA Jam, as they simply swapped out the heads of the normal players with the head of Raiden and Shinnok, but not from MK4 in his normal base form, but instead his monster form from MK Mythologies. There were no special abilities and not even any particularly special stats. They were just reskins, basically. But hey, at least we technically got 2 characters, so for that, I'll give it a 2 out of 10. Then, in July 2000s, The Grid released in arcades, say it with me now, by Midway. This is by far the best showcase MK has had in a non-MK game, with there being 3 characters, all of which having special abilities that made them very OP. They were secret unlockable characters not part of the base roster, and they were Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and my boy Noob Saibot, all with their MK4 designs and these huge guns. Scorpion got a fireball, which was an insta-death if it touched you. Sub obviously had an ice ball to freeze enemies in place, and Noob had this vortex that sucked nearby players. Pause. And killed them, a move that I think we should see return as a part of his base moveset. Obviously without the insta-death part, that would not be good. Anyways, along with NBA Jam and some other entries we'll get to that happened much more recently, this is one of the more well-known appearances of MK characters in non-MK games, which is interesting since this is right in the middle of a pretty dark time for the series in between MK4 and Deadly Alliance, where the only game released in that time was Special Forces. Yeah. But anyways, this is a great interpretation of these characters. It kind of sucks that they have to have the guns and stuff since it looks very goofy, but they function more or less how they should, and their designs are ripped straight from the game, so I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Then we have the June 2004 Midway game release for the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and PC, Psi-Ops: The Mindgate Conspiracy, a third-person shooter action-adventure game where you use telekinesis and other powers of the sort, including pyrokinesis, which gets interesting once you enter the code 546546 in the main menu to unlock Scorpion. He uses his Deadly Alliance design, but unfortunately it is just a skin swap, but I will give it points for the great design and the fact that you can do Scorpion-like things at certain points, but I can't give it anything above a 3 out of 10. Then we have MLB Slugfest, released 1 week after Psi-Ops in June 2004. This was a baseball game where you punch people. Why? Well, I think the real question is, why not? If you hit a home run on the Midway Arena, oh yeah, another Midway game by the way, you would unlock Sub-Zero, but not just for one character, no, your whole team would become Sub-Zero. And if you got a home run with Sub-Zero, you would then unlock Scorpion. But again, not just you as Scorpion, your whole team, meaning you could have a bunch of Scorpions versus a bunch of Sub-Zeros, which is just, peak gameplay. They had their Deadly Alliance design. Scorpion used a sword as his bat, while Sub used a frozen bat, and they both had a bunch of particle effects with ice and fire. It's actually pretty cool, but it is pretty much just another reskin. It's as cool as you can get for a reskin, but no special abilities or anything like that. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Then, in 2005, Unreal Championship 2, The Leandry Conflict, was released, a first and third person hybrid arena shooter developed by Epic Games. They'll become very important later on, and this was a part of their Unreal brand, which is more so known for their engine nowadays rather than their games. But Raiden was a secret unlockable character you could play as by completing all the challenges in the game's challenge mode. Like with the grid, it's a bit odd to see Raiden running around with a gun. But it's more than made up for by the fact that he's pretty much a fully fledged character within the game, not a reskin or character with one special move. He has his electricity powers, his staff, even his flying Superman attack. They really went above and beyond with this one. Though because of those features, he was very overpowered, though this game is like 20 years old, so I don't know, I don't play it. I don't really care. His design is his default from Deadly Alliance. Interestingly, they didn't go the Deception route considering that was the most recent game, but I guess his Deadly Alliance one is more iconic since it's the classic blue Raiden. Maybe they could have added a skin for Dark Raiden or something, I don't know. But yeah, great inclusion. I'm giving this one the highest rating so far, in 8 out of 10. Then we have a very brief one. In 2011, a mobile spin-off game to Batman Arkham City released called Batman Arkham City Lockdown, and by this point Midway had gone bankrupt and WB acquired the rights to Mortal Kombat, making Kano appearing and fighting Batman in this game a possibility. You fight him and he has his knife throw from MK9 and maybe some other moves, but nothing special. You beat him up and move on. He wears his MK9 alternate as well, but this one's so brief, I gotta give it like a 1 out of 10, I think. Then, the big one. Sticking with the DC universe, in 2013, Injustice: Gods Among Us released, with Scorpion being a guest character released afterwards as paid DLC. His design was created by legend of the comic book art industry, Jim Lee, and it was made with the idea of Scorpion becoming a DC character. And in that respect, it's good, but for me personally as a Mortal Kombat fan, it's just not my thing. Now, Scorpion, when he originally released, was insanely good. His teleport was so fast, faster than it had ever been and has been since, both on startup and on recovery. His attacks hit really easily, they were really hard to react to, and because of that, they were very safe. Scorpion was a nightmare and an overwhelming presence for about a week or two before getting absolutely blasted and tanked by countless nerfs, ending with him becoming one of the worst characters in the game by the time support ended for Injustice. Think of it as watching a prime Mike Tyson absolutely destroy Larry Holmes, Trevor Burbank, Michael Spinks, and then watching him against Jake Paul. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy there. But still, this is by far and away the best interpretation of a Mortal Kombat character in a non-Mortal Kombat game. Just easily, he has a full moveset, voice lines, intros, victories, all of that stuff. I can't give it anything less than a 9 out of 10. And then we have one that I distinctly remember when it was announced, but then just kind of never got brought up again, and that is in 2015 when Johnny Cage came to the WWE mobile game, WWE Immortals. This was a game that basically turned WWE into Mortal Kombat. It was developed by NetherRealm Studios and had a bunch of WWE superstars fighting each other with superpowers, so Johnny fit right in. The game was basically just MKX mobile, so Johnny plays pretty similarly to how he does in that game. I assume I didn't really play Johnny in Mortal Kombat Mobile because I didn't really play Mortal Kombat Mobile that much at all. But he had the Shadow Kick, Nut Punch, and then a super move where he does the autograph thing. Pretty basic stuff. Best thing was the trailer where Andrew Bowen was able to go all out with pure Johnny Cage-ness. His design is pretty good too, being the MKX tournament one, so yeah, it's okay. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. How about that? And then there's the second Injustice game, and because it's Injustice 2, that means we get 2 MK characters, this time being Sub-Zero and Raiden. When it comes to gameplay, their stories are not nearly as interesting as Scorpion's was, but they were pretty fun to play from what I remember, and they had fairly similar movesets to their MKX forms, but with just some changes to get rid of variations and add the Injustice mechanics. With the designs, I'm not really a fan of either of their defaults, but since there was a very in-depth gear system, it doesn't really matter. They also both had intros with their respective voice actors playing them as they usually do. Steve Bloom and Richard Epcar both had rad super moves and outros as well. I remember so many reactions to Raiden's epic super move with the electric Mortal Kombat dragon. That alone changed a lot of people's minds about him being included in the game, which was very controversial at the time. But yeah, this one's easy. If I gave Injustice 1 a 9 out of 10 for having one really solid character, I kind of have to give Injustice 2 a 10 out of 10 for having 2 really solid characters. And now we're at the very last non-Mortal Kombat game to include a Mortal Kombat character, the reason for this video's existence, Fortnite, which just added Sub-Zero a little over a week back now, with Scorpion definitely on the way. And it's pretty standard stuff here when it comes to abilities. Sub comes with a freeze move, he has a glider that is a frozen MK logo, he has his ice axes from MK11, I believe. He has an awesome taunt referencing his MK11 friendship, and he has a back bling with the skull spinal cord attached. I'm honestly shocked that Fortnite and Epic Games went that far with it, but I'm all here for it. Not literally, because I'm not going to play the game, but I mean I support it. But by far my favorite thing about this Sub-Zero are the skin options, with there being his classic UMK3 design, which just looks crispy, or maybe that's not the right term to use since this is Sub-Zero, but he also has an unmasked version and his Bihan MK1 form, so hey, fans of both brothers can be happy. Can we please stop yelling at each other and complaining, please? I beg of you. Mortal Kombat Twitter. Hello, hi, yep. It's me, Editing Oddity here. I realized that I forgot to give Fortnite a rating out of 10, so I should probably do that. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10, though when Scorpion comes out, I'll probably bump it up to a 9. Yeah. Editing Oddity out. Very, very excited to see what they do with Scorpion, but that will do it, and that is every single time a Mortal Kombat character has appeared in a non-Mortal Kombat game. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure to check out the links in the description to my merch store, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, make sure to give this video a like to show your support, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to know when I next upload a new video. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.